Hello everyone. Today I'm going to talk to you about one of my favorite parts of my garden that I think if it makes sense for your garden, you should implement as well. And that is wheels. Now, I didn't start off putting my entire garden on wheels. It's been something I've realized over the last few years that is really helpful. So there's really two main reasons why I put my containers on wheels. One is to protect my deck, because I have learned that you don't want a lot of your pots, especially things like grow bags that act as a sponge, sitting on your wooden deck. So I want to lift all of my pots that I can off of the wooden deck just to protect it. And then two, to move things around, because there are some containers that I cannot move on my own, especially when they're filled with soil. But if I put them on wheels, it is so easy to move them around my garden. Now, this might not make sense for you if you're growing everything in the ground, but I have almost my entire rooftop deck garden on wheels. I think the only things I don't have are the wooden raised beds. I really wish I could get those maybe someday. And then on the new deck, I think I am going to be able to put everything on wheels. So yeah, I'm just going to have a very mobile garden, which I love so much. It really does make things so much easier. So what I'm going to do today is go through the different items that I found to be the most helpful, and then I'm also going to show you on my rooftop decks what I'm currently using, and then we'll go down to the garage deck and put these items under some of the containers down there. I call these plant caddies, and that is actually what they are called. I will link down everything below. I like these because, well, one, they're brown, so they do match with my deck. I think this is, well, let me see what the diameter is. Yeah, it's about 12 inches. So any pot that has a base that is smaller than 12 inches, I'll use this for. I use this a lot with my terracotta pots or my resin pots that have my hydrangeas in them. When I have pots, they are obviously a little heavier than the grow bags. So once they're planted, in general, they are a bit heavier. So it's just really easy to wheel these around. And again, the wheels lift them off the deck. Now, this does not have drainage in it, so as the water goes into this container, it will sit there. I've never had an issue with the water sitting in there causing root rot. It's not like it's a very deep reservoir. It's probably about an inch. So I will put my pots on this, and this kind of acts as a saucer as well. So I've never had issues, even though there isn't drainage built into these, and I really like them. What else I like about them is they come with locks. Now, I like the locks because fairly often I will bump into a plant, and if it's on wheels, it can roll. I've never had an issue with the wind rolling things around unless the pots are empty. I'll talk more about that in a second, but I like having the locks just so I can keep it in place. If people are walking around or if kids are running around, they're not going to bump into something and it's going to roll. Not like that's a big deal at all, but I like being able to lock these in place and know that they're not going to move. And there is a lock on every wheel. And I love these so much. I think this is now the third year since I've had these, and it just makes everything much easier. Even when I'm rolling my raspberries, if I'm moving them into the corner of my deck for winter, instead of having to pick up the pot, get stabbed with all of the thorny branches, I can just push it, usually with my foot, across the deck. So it does make that so much easier. Now, I can't use this for all of my containers because there are some limitations based on size. Again, the base has to be smaller than 12 inches, and weight, which wasn't something I really thought about until more recently. So the weight limitations for this, according to the product description, is 88 pounds, which I don't think I have anything that's 88 pounds on this. And you might not think you have anything that's that heavy, but trust me, ceramic pots filled with soil, filled with a plant, that can add up very quickly. So this works very well for like my smaller to medium size pots. I do have another plant caddy that I can't show you because it's currently under all three of my 30-gallon grow bags and my one giant pot out on the back deck. So I will insert photos here. I'll show you what it looks like in action, but I can't and don't want to lift the heavy pot off of it just to bring it inside. But what I really liked about these, let me get the actual name. It is called the Plant Caddy with Wheels Heavy Duty. This one is adjustable. So it went from 15 to 21 inches based on how far apart you pulled it, and it is in a circular shape, which works really well for my circular grow bags and the circular pot that it's under. My 30-gallon grow bags, the grow bags themselves weigh like, I don't even know, probably not a pound. I can toss it in the air. But when I put 30 gallons of soil in it, I cannot pick it up and move it around on my own, but I can very, very easily wheel them wherever I need them now. So if you don't want to put wheels on your smaller things, I would definitely put them underneath your larger grow bags or containers before filling them with soil, because it really does make life so much easier in the garden. So again, this one that I have is adjustable. I think I have it pulled out to the furthest underneath my 3 grow bags, and it's worked really well. I just leave it there all season. This one also, because it's not a solid base, the water drains through it. The wheels lift the grow bags off of the deck to protect the deck. So it's worked out really, really well. And those, again, are specifically labeled as plant caddies. Now, we're gonna get into the things that are not specifically labeled for plants, but I use them for the plant containers in my garden. Like I mentioned, with some of the plant caddies, you are limited by size or by weight. And as I'm getting larger containers for the garage deck, what I currently had wasn't going to work. And I couldn't really find specific plant caddies that were able to hold the weight of the containers that I haven't even filled with soil yet and are already very heavy. So then I discovered the world of furniture dollies, which is what these 3 things are. And this is now what I'm using for the heavy containers on my garage deck. I don't think any of these are currently being used on my rooftop decks, because again, I shouldn't put as much weight up here as I can on the garage deck. So all of these are going to go downstairs. What is great about the furniture dollies is how much they can carry, because they are meant to carry things like couches and beds and tables. So this has a 550-pound capacity, which is fantastic. And again, you might not think a container you have is that heavy, but there are some containers I have out on the garage deck along the border that I can't lift on my own when they're empty. So filling them with potting soil, I just want to make sure I have something that's not going to collapse underneath my containers. And these are perfect for that. The only issue, well, it's not really a huge issue once I get the pots filled, but the furniture dollies, at least not the ones I've come across, don't have locks on the wheels, probably because if it's meant to move furniture, why would anyone want to lock the wheels so the furniture then cannot be moved? So I have had, you'll see where my current arch and 2 containers are. I have had, when we've had windy days, containers on the deck kind of roll across, but that should not be a problem once they are filled with soil and they're weighed down. So that's the only kind of issue, is that I can't lock these into place, whereas anything else I have that is specifically labeled for a plant caddy does have locks. So same thing with, this is also a furniture dolly. Let's see what this one has. This says the max loading capacity is 551 pounds. It also says don't ride it like a skateboard, so I won't be doing that. But this one is about 15 by 15 inches. So these are going under some of my square pots. What I really like about these, that are just called, again, furniture dollies with wheels, is I do have 2 separately on each side of a rectangular container, but you can fit these together like a puzzle piece and then kind of customize the length that you need. So I could connect these 2, connect another one this way, connect another one, and I could have wheels all the way across. So if you have something very large and very heavy, I like the ability to connect and kind of customize these. I don't know if I'm gonna have to do that. Right now I have, like my rectangular planter, there's one on this end and one on this end, but I like that you have the capability of connecting these together. And then the last thing I'm also excited about, but I haven't used yet, are these, which are also called furniture dollies, but they're meant so that you can put like the leg of a table in each of these, or the leg of an elevated bed. So right now, if I did at some point put wheels on my elevated beds up here, it would probably be these that I would go for, but I don't want to have to take the soil out of the elevated beds in order to be able to lift them and put these under. But I do have a new, smaller elevated bed that's going to go on the garage deck, and I think this is going to be perfect for it. So I have 4 of these, and I'm just going to put one leg in each, and that way it can be wheeled around. So this, let me see about the capacity. So if I'm using all 4, because it comes in a pack of 4, it says the capacity is 1,500 pounds. So that's fantastic. Maybe I can even put our table on wheels. That's probably going too far. I don't need every single thing in my life on wheels. But this is the last one. Again, I haven't tried it yet, but I am very excited to try it. So that is basically everything that I put on wheels in my garden. Let's head downstairs and we'll figure out where these are gonna go. And I also need to figure out how many more I need to order. We are on the garage deck now, and you see those 2 containers with the arch. Yeah, they're not supposed to be there. So because they are empty and everything here is pretty lightweight on its own, and there's no locks on these wheels, it just got blown across the deck. Once I put soil in it, which hopefully will be soon, I'm working with Coast of Maine, so I'm excited to get these filled, then it should stay in place. So I'm gonna move this into the correct place right now. Now here are the things I have on wheels. These are the ones I just brought from upstairs. These have been sitting out there. I did forget I got 2 round ones, so I'm also probably gonna have to get a couple more of those for our round pots. So all of these I just found on Amazon. That one and that one are actually from Crescent Garden, and they do have wheels on them. I know it doesn't look like it, but let's move this without getting, I don't know if you can tell that there are wheels under there, but there are wheels under there. Now I do have wheels on some containers. So the arch I just showed you, and then these, which are the planters that were too heavy for me to move on my own. So those are on 2 of the rectangular platforms that you can connect together if you want, but I just have one on either side. So I'm going to figure out where the rest of these are gonna go, and then that way I'll know how many more I need to get. All right, so here's what's currently on wheels. All of these, which are self-watering pots. I don't know if I love the look of everything, and I think the one on the right actually needs a larger base, but at least I have wheels for it now. And then everything back here is now on wheels. So again, these large rectangular ones already were. I added them to the square pots on the end, the circular ones in the middle, which are also self-watering. And I have left these 2. So one rectangular, smaller one large rectangular one, and then I have those 4 pots, which are going to be my fruit trees. But this is just personal preference. I don't know if I want, a black base on a beige pot. I don't know if I'll be able to find something that blends in more with that color, but we'll see. So assuming I don't add more containers. Oh, you know what? There are 2 back behind the right side of the arch, so that'll probably get 1 of these. But other than that, I think I might just need 4-ish more, and then everything here will be on wheels. So yeah, that is my wheel-filled garden. Is it something you definitely need? No, but honestly, this has been so helpful, again, both with protecting the deck, which is very important, and being able to move these heavier containers around. Because it's not like I'm moving them around often throughout the season, but if I need to get small space, if I need to get, let's say, to the air conditioning units upstairs, I can wheel the plants out of the way. When I'm overwintering them, I'll wheel them out of the way. So I really, really enjoy having wheels. I do wish that more raised beds in general just came with wheels. So we'll see. Maybe that is the future of gardening. All on wheels. Let me know if you have any questions. Let me know if you have wheels in your garden or if this is just a weird thing I do, and I will see you in the next video.